Alright, here's the lecture on Chapter 2 of How to Read a Book, and this chapter is very brief. It's on the various levels of reading. Adler identifies 4 levels of reading: elementary reading, inspectional reading, analytical reading, and syntopical reading. I'll go through each of those in turn, and this lecture is going to be very brief. Elementary reading is basically literacy. Once you learn to read the words on a page to understand what they mean, you've basically acquired the first level of reading. So you learn the rudiments of the art of reading, you receive basic training in reading, and acquire initial reading skills. The question that is asked at this level is, what does the sentence say? It's very basic, and Adler says that you learn this sort of reading, or you should, sometime in elementary school you accomplish the art of elementary reading. An example would be being able to read the sentence, "The cat is on the hat." At this point, you're not concerned about whether cats do sit on hats, what this means about the world. Again, you're not concerned about understanding in the least here. You're just concerned about being able to take words on a page and decipher them. And this is all I'm going to say about elementary reading. I won't include a lecture on it. If you do struggle with elementary reading, we do have resources on campus available for you. You can talk to me and I will help you find the resource. But I am hoping that most of you, all of you, will be trained in elementary reading. 2 is inspectional reading. Another way of putting this is it's systematic skimming. You're skimming the book, but when you're doing so, you're looking for very specific things. The aim is, in a relatively short time, I don't know, say 15 minutes, an hour, to learn everything that the surface of the book can teach you. Surface level reading, you see. You're learning everything that the book can teach you in that amount of time in order to see if the book requires a more careful reading. Now, some books, they're not even worth more than just doing a systematic skimming. You'll see that you've learned all that you need to learn from the book just by skimming it. Other books require way more than this systematic skimming. They require in-depth analysis and such. So not a lot of books are to that level where they warrant that in-depth analysis. And I would suggest that you find those books and you try to read them to become a careful thinker. At any rate, with systematic skimming, the question you ask at this level is, what is the book about? Other questions you should be able to answer after reading inspectionally is, what is the structure of the book? What are its parts? What kind of book is it? Is it a novel, a history, a scientific treatise? And those are the questions you're seeking to answer when you do inspectional reading. You shouldn't just pick up a book and start on page 1 and start reading and plow through it. No, you need to peruse it. You need to figure out, what's the layout of this book? What is this book about? How do I categorize this book? Right? You need to do that before you ever start reading the first word. Analytical reading, this is thorough reading or complete reading or good reading. You start with inspectional reading and then you move on to analytical reading. If inspectional reading is the best and most complete reading that is possible given a limited time, then analytical reading is the best and most complete reading that is possible given unlimited time. Okay? And analytical reading is preeminently for the sake of understanding. That's what the book is about, How to Read a Book. How to Read a Book is about learning how to take a book, digest it, and understand it. And part 2 of How to Read a Book, chapters 6 through 12, is all focused on analytical reading. Finally, there's syntopical reading. This is comparative reading. When you're reading syntopically, you're reading many books and not just one on a particular topic, and you're placing them in relation to one another and to that topic about which they all revolve. So say you're doing a research paper on, I don't know, the cell, and you've got a biology textbook, you've got a popular level book on the cell, you've got a couple others, and you're reading them and you're trying to piece things together yourself, taking all the information and synthesizing it to come up with an informed view of the cell. This is syntopical reading. It's very advanced reading, and we won't cover syntopical reading in this class, but you have the book and you can read that. I think it's chapters 20 and 21. So with the help of the books that you read, the syntopical reader is able to construct an analysis of the subject that may not be in any of the books. So with reading for understanding, you're raising yourself up to the level of the author. With syntopical reading, you're raising yourself beyond the authors. And those are the various levels of reading. That's a summary of Chapter 2.